I'm Quinnell, welcome to the WrestleTalk news. AEW's new Saturday show Collision was announced yesterday, debuting in June, just as reports had said beforehand, which also means without a doubt that CM Punk is also on his way back to AEW, right? Well, you've seen the title of the video. Let's talk about it. So, it was the funny joke on the headline there. It was the Warner Brothers Discovery upfronts yesterday, where they promote their upcoming content across their network of channels, primarily for advertisers so they can figure out where to spend their big bucks. And that's where Collision was announced as well. Makes sense. Interestingly though, as revealed by Sports Illustrated writer Jimmy Traynor, WBD emailed out a press release following the upfronts, and in that press release, they mentioned that Collision was set to be headlined by one Coco Mango Punk. This was then reportedly edited to remove all headlining names. So that's a little whoopsie, but nothing major, right? I'm sure they're just trying to keep Punk's return a surprise, and they made a little mistake. Well, WBD then made a statement about it to comicbook.com and said quite categorically, CM Punk is not affiliated with TNT's AEW Collision. So maybe there is something to Punk being removed from Collision promotional material? Fightful Select then released a report saying that Punk was indeed removed from the promotion of Collision, despite being originally planned for it. However, as of the time of writing their report, there were still plans with CM Punk. And notably, they also mention in their report that Ace Steel could possibly be brought back as part of these return plans. So, there may be something to this Punk being removed thing, but nothing concrete so far, nothing to say that he and AEW are at odds or anything. PW Insider then reported that Punk and AEW are at odds. Well, the reported reason for this is the aforementioned Ace Steel. PW Insider report that Steel was expected to return in conjunction with Punk next month, working behind the scenes. However, the story they'd heard is that a decision was made that Steel would not be working backstage at the actual Collision tapings, which reportedly left Punk as not a happy man. They note that this left Punk and AEW on opposite sides of the discussion, which is what directly led to Punk being removed from all promotional material for Collision. They also mentioned that Ace Steel in recent weeks had been offered a tryout in Impact Wrestling, an offer that he reportedly declined, which seemed to indicate the belief that he was heading to either AEW or WWE. Fightful Select then followed up with another report saying it was actually Chris Jericho's idea for Ace Steel to return to AEW, which was raised during the meeting between Punk and Jericho a couple of weeks ago. They then corroborated PW Insider's claim that Steel was not going to be working backstage, adding that Steel would be able to work with Punk and work with the company, but he would not be able to be at AEW Television, which was raised to Punk in a meeting between him and Tony Khan earlier this week. They noted that Punk, as expected, was not in agreement with this. So, there we go. That is everything. That's the story so far, and what's that? Punk's commented himself, has he? Oh boy. Yes, CM Punk weighed in himself on all these reports. The only way wrestlers know how to these days: Instagram stories. He first called out Brian Alvarez, who during this time had also reported on potential issues between Punk and AEW, before this message for everyone, saying, "Friendly reminder, I haven't been on TV in 9 months and y'all just can't stop talking about me. Maybe stop, you'll feel better. Love, hate, it's all the same. I don't enjoy being the sole person that props up the entire misinformed clickbait industry based on toxic gossip from lying sources, but what can you do? When you're the king, it comes with the crown." He then posted a video of himself where he said, "One more before I go really quick. The parasocial relationship a lot of fringe wrestling fans have with certain people is really unhealthy. I get the tribalism, like it's fun to root for your team, but picking sides seems a little silly. You don't know me, you don't know anybody else, so, you know, just go touch grass." So Punk may or may not have been the face of the Collision promotion, may or may not have been taken off at the last minute, may or may not have issues with AEW where Ace Steel may or may not return, and everyone may or may not be lying. Glad we got that cleared up. And now over to Ollie for the AEW Dynamite review.
Hot tag, thank you, Pete. And hey, if you want to see me and Pete touch in person, along with loads of others of the WrestleTalk crew, you want to get your tickets to our Night of Champions watch-along party for the 27th of May. Get your tickets now using the links in the video description below. I'm gonna be there, me! But now it's time for my review of AEW Dynamite. in about 5 minutes. For a change, Wardlow opened this episode, coming down to the ring, dressed for a Saturday night out at Wetherspoons with the lads, and calling down Christian after his Dead Dad promo last week. They immediately entered scuffle mode, which Christian and Luchasaurus got the better of, awesomely chokeslamming and unprittering Wardlow through a ladder. Arn Anderson was nowhere to be seen, but not because he was off shooting a man in the face. He had been told to stay backstage by Wardlow to protect him. So when they met each other in the trainer's room later on, Wardlow declared the brilliantly obvious, challenging Christian to a TNT title ladder match at Double or Nothing. Yes, please. With this being the Go Home episode, AEW focused on giving the 3 challenging pillars winning momentum, starting with Darby Allin and Orange Cassidy beating Firm Legacy, Lee Moriarty and Big Bill. Stop trying to make the Firm happen. Oh, you did. Thank you. You did stop the Firm happening. I appreciate that. Aside from Darby getting the win, I didn't quite get the point of this match. But the action was really fun, a lot of it because Big Bill is a great heat magnet big man. No, not you, Heat Magnet. I wasn't talking about you. Please don't absorb me. Cassidy accumulated even more damage, and Darby got the pinfall win. Following Carl Fletcher's backstage attack of Cassidy last week, Orange said if anyone wants to fight for his international title at the pay-per-view, just go ask Tony Khan. Renee told him later on that 20 different wrestlers had all taken up his challenge. They unfortunately missed out on the comedy of showing that visual, but Cassidy accepted them all, making the 21-man Blackjack Battle Royal. What are the rules? What are the rules? For the International Championship. Sammy Guevara beat one of the coolest named jobbers I've ever heard, Exodus Prime, but then Sammy unfortunately thinks he's a babyface again, going on to cut a heroic promo despite nobody liking him. Team TNA and FTR's in-ring promo segment never got started because Dax and Kaz awesomely pushed Satnam Singh off the entrance stage through a table. It started a fun brawl, culminating in FTR about to do a big rig on Jeff, when the inevitable finally happened. Jeff Jarrett joined the company on the 2nd of November 2022. So it's amazing it's taken this long for his wife Karen Jarrett to join him in an angle. More faction members to interfere in matches. Interference, guitar shot, near fall. Interference, guitar shot, near fall. Jarrett wins. It's a tried and tested formula from TNA. Team TNA stood tall at the end after smashing guitars over both Cash and Dax's heads. The outcasts of Tony Storm and Ruby Soho took on Britt Baker and Sheeda next. Why isn't Jamie Hayter there at ringside? Oh, okay, she's not medically cleared, and this was originally meant to be a trios match, so, why isn't literally any other female wrestler there at ringside? Saraya, of course, immediately interfered and ultimately led to the heel win, distracting the referee for Tony to spray paint Britt in the eyes. It was a really fun match with 4 great wrestlers though, and it gave Tony some winning momentum to passionately call out Jamie Hayter for a Double or Nothing title match later on. Then came Tony Khan's major, massive, huge, monumental, leveling up, landscape changing, limousine riding, Shazam, Fury of the Gods. Next week in Winnipeg, Warner Brothers Discovery announcement. AEW are getting the new weekly show Collision on Saturday nights, unveiling the tour venues for the first month and a bit, apart from the premiere episode, which he'll announce next week, which is heavily reported on to be in Chicago. And you know what happens when AEW launch new shows in Chicago? CM Punk returns. Pete, you had a whole news segment about CM Punk and you didn't check in with Brian Children. So let's go over to WrestleTalk CM Punk return correspondent Brian Children right now. Brian, does this mean CM Punk has returned yet?
I can confirm that CM Punk has not returned to wrestling as of this moment that I'm speaking right now.
How about now?
Nope.
Now?
Nope.
God damn it, Brian Children, I got you on board to find CM Punk and it's been a whole month now, so find him! Roderick Strong wanted revenge on Chris Jericho for Adam Cole in a Falls Count Anywhere match next, with everyone's faction mates banned from the whole arena. They had a spectacularly fun brawl through the crowd, into the concourse area, getting German suplexed onto food counters, having cutlery thrown at each other, a fork? Who throws a fork? Near falls in the stairwell, and even Roddy shoving a load of ice cream in Jericho's face, which actually still looked better than Jericho's Painmaker gimmick. The finish was a perfect smart babyface reveal. Roddy begged off from Jericho through the arena doors, luring Chris into the trap of Cole waiting for him on the outside. He was only banned from the arena, not the entirety of Austin, Texas. Cole hit the boom and Strong got a pinfall victory over Jericho. Great booking, making the faces look smart, providing a good angle for the feud, and giving the new star Roddy a huge win on paper. Jungle Boy's momentum win going into his Double or Nothing world title match wasn't as effective for me. He got dominated by Roosh for 10 minutes, where Roosh just looked awesome. Spreading Jay Beat's blood over his chest and no-selling chops. Roosh is one of the most underrated performers in the company. Jungle Boy seemingly fluked a roll-up win at the end. Los Ingobernables beat Jungle Boy up afterwards in an obvious MJF plot, so Darby and Sammy ran down for the save, doing a neat, we're all on the respectful same page 2 weeks from the match, friends visual. MJF was furious his plan didn't work backstage, where he slapped a microphone out of Renee's hand. And it's more heat than any words he could have said. Ricky Starks and Jay White had a really good match, not just because the Texas crowd was super into their homeboy Starks. Fun fact, Ricky has about 58 different hometowns, but also because White is an excellent heel wrestler, cutting off Ricky's comebacks with perfect timing. AEW booked a rare DQ finish in the end, with Ricky having enough of Juice Robinson's interference, so Starks hit both of Bullet Club with chairs, and undermined the good work they'd done in the ring, jarring with AEW's usual booking. I imagine they'll have a rematch at the pay-per-view. The main event was reserved for Don Callis' reveal of why he turned on Kenny Omega. We got a bit of that explanation, where Callis said he was the real victim here, but it was mostly cut off by something even better. The Elite finally reforming in full Bucks, Kenny and Hangman Page force, with Hangman in a goddamn eye patch, fighting the Blackpool Combat Club before triumphantly declaring, emotionally paying off 4.5 years of story, we are the Elite. It's like I Am Groot, but with the Elite, and booking all those involved in an Anarchy in the Arena match for Double or Nothing. This was an excellent show, continuing a fine run of form. This week's Dynamite is 90%. Watch on Fred and Blompier counting down 10 ways WWE have already ruined their own brand split. Following Carl Fletcher's backstage attack of Cassidy last week, Orange said if anyone wants to fight for his TNT title, that's not his title. Orange said if anyone wants to fight for his international title at the pay-per-view, just go ask Tony Khan.